Maybe this is dramatic, but I believe civil war has begun in California. And as of 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Donald Trump deployed 2,000 National Guard members after LA immigration protests. This is what Kristi Noem had to say about the protests happening here in California. Let's roll it.
Governor Newsom, Mayor Bass, you have to call an end to this violence. This rhetoric against our politicians and against our law enforcement officers has gone way too far.
Donald Trump deploying 2,000 National Guard members, knowing damn well that when an actual insurrection happened, like this one right here, what did Donald Trump deploy to stop this right here from happening? Anybody in the MAGA crowd, I want to know right now, what exactly did Donald Trump deploy to stop this right here from happening?
California National Guard troops have started to arrive. This is new video just into the newsroom showing the troops driving through Paramount near Alondra and Orange. They are now at LA City Hall. The president ordered them to the LA area following 2 days of protests due to ICE raids.
What's up, YouTube family? Welcome back to my space. This is Evans Rayola. Guys, thank you so much for tuning to watch today's episode. I do not take your support for granted. So guys, on today's video, we want to discuss about what is happening in California. On Saturday, yesterday, June 7, 2025, President Donald Trump ordered for the deployment of 2,000 California National Guard troops to Los Angeles in response to the escalating protests against federal immigration enforcement. And Americans are not happy about these. Americans are reacting online. People are saying that they are tired of Donald Trump. People are saying that they are tired of the dictatorship they are seeing from this president. The same ICE officials who've been sent, who've arrested more than 100 people so far in California. Americans claim that some of them do not effect, the arrests well. Some of them even arrest American citizens, and Americans are tired of these raids, and people have been protesting. So Donald Trump thought that it's time that he engaged, that he deployed the National Guard troops in California, and Americans are saying no, and they will continue with the protest, and they are not happy. People from California are saying that they are not happy with the leadership of Donald Trump, and they're also not happy, with the arrests that ICE officials, have been perpetuating in the streets of Los Angeles, in different homes. Some people are saying that these arrests have been wrong arrests, even for the US citizens. So guys, I want you to watch this series of videos that I've compiled. Once the videos are done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch these together, family.
Answer the phone. It's an emergency. Pick up the phone, baby. It's time for all the things you need to know about, but you haven't heard about. So Donald Trump just signed a memorandum to activate the United States National Guard against U.S. citizens in California due to the riots that are happening from all of the ICE raids that have been taking place this week in L.A. Then Pete Hegseth has also come out just a few minutes ago and said that they are also going to activate the Marines. Now, today was a travel day. I was planning on leaving y'all alone. I wasn't going to talk to y'all until tomorrow, but keep up, buttercup. Now, while Elon Musk and Donald Trump are beefing, ICE has been raiding all over California this entire week. It started off a little bit more quietly. The mayor, the governor, the police chiefs have come forward and said they had no idea that ICE was going to be there. And ICE has launched these military-style attacks on U.S. citizens, also on immigrants that actually had legal status or still do have legal status here to be in the United States. It even was found out that they had detained, I believe, over 80 individuals in the basement of a federal building without proper food, water, no beds. Baby, just yoke these people up off the street and literally lock them in the basement. But the people in LA are standing up and they are fighting the ICE agents back. Oh, and the ICE agents have been using chemical agents on the people as well. Now, while all of this is going on, you also have Donald Trump out here calling Elon Musk a big drug addict. And it has also been revealed that Starlink was installed in the White House, even though they know that there are security issues with Starlink and that it easily can be hacked and accessed by our foreign adversaries in Russia. Baby, but Donald Trump out here talking about he gonna sell his Tesla or give it away. Well, we got real serious stuff happening. And then Elon Musk said he not gonna apologize, but overnight he deleted his tweets about Donald Trump and the whole Epstein situation. But we all know the internet is forever, so it really doesn't matter that he deleted them. And then like yesterday, the president of the largest union in California, he was arrested, injured, and detained by ICE. But y'all know, I told y'all, they don't want any proof. They don't want any documentation, and they're heavily trying to suppress people that are telling the truth. Which is why, while you're watching this, you need to make sure that you are sharing this. You need to make sure that you are downloading it. You need to make sure that you're commenting, because that's the only way the information is going to get out. Y'all know they already banned me on TikTok for reporting the news. The chief of the National Criminal Division, he resigned because he said all the stuff that's going on with Kilmar Abrega is political. And while all of this was going on and Elon and Trump were beefing on Twitter, the Supreme Court gave Doge expanded access to the Social Security Administration. Then Donald Trump publicly threatened Elon Musk and told him that if he moves forward with his plans to support Democratic lawmakers, that Elon Musk is going to face consequences. And finally, the founders of Latinas for Trump, I believe her name is Ileana Garcia, she finally came out and said something. She's like, I've always supported President Trump, but what's going on right now with the immigration and ICE is inhumane. Baby, we've been trying to tell y'all, okay? Keep in mind that this woman is a senator in Florida. We have to start showing up during the midterms and voting these MFers up out of these seats. And y'all remember last week, I told y'all that the rumor mill was saying that Elon Musk and Scott Bassett had gotten into a fight. Well, turns out it's true. But who y'all be saying be out here lying? It ain't me. Yeah, they got into a physical altercation, okay? So while they was running around and Elon Musk was trying to make everybody believe that his son gave him a black eye, whole entire stanky lie. They've been out here doing drugs, hunching on each other's wives, and literally fighting each other. And these are the MFers, and y'all are trusting their judgment and these people to make policy and put laws into place. Are you serious? Literally, the country is being run by a bunch of cat heads right now. Also on that booger sugar too. But don't forget right now that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth have literally sicked the military on American citizens, on top of them putting ICE out here on the people, and they've been raiding. And if you go on TikTok, I've been seeing videos for the last 2 days live as the raids are happening, so you can go and watch everything that you're not going to be able to see on the news. Remember, censorship is in full effect, so you may have to misspell. And they are not AI, because a lot of us were watching them happen in real time yesterday and earlier today. I'm doing what I need to do, but I need y'all to help me out. Make sure y'all are liking, make sure you're commenting, make sure you're sharing. Like, that's the only way that those of us that are actually telling you what's happening are going to be able to keep getting the word out. Anyway, child, I got to go get ready for this webinar that we're having tomorrow, because I told y'all you need to be getting all the extra money that you can, okay?
Donald Trump and his administration, they're trying to scare you right now. Because a few hours ago, Donald Trump announced that because of violent protesters against ICE agents, he's deploying the National Guard in Los Angeles. Now they're even considering sending U.S. Marines from nearby Camp Pendleton into Los Angeles as well. Folks, I'm here in Southern California, and I can tell you firsthand for a fact that these have been peaceful protests. A majority of these people are protesting peacefully. But Donald Trump and his administration, they don't care, and they don't want you to know that. They want to use this moment right now to heighten the tensions. They want people around the country to think that radical left lunatics are rioting against ICE, and that the National Guard and Marines are going to be deployed whenever there's an uprising against the Trump regime. There's a reason why Governor Gavin Newsom didn't request the National Guard, because the situation is largely under control here. There's no need for the National Guard to be here, but Donald Trump wants you to think that he's the hero in this situation, that he's sending the National Guard here, but all he's doing is heightening tensions as well. Donald Trump never cared about the safety or well-being of Californians. He's only using this opportunity to terrorize our communities, to send a message to people that want to immigrate to this country. Don't let them. Continue organizing, continue sharing videos like this to help me tell the truth about what's happening here in Southern California.
Well, folks, like we've been warning all along, that Trump wants to issue martial law. Right now, the Trump administration, along with that smooth-brained slug, Tom Homan, they are mobilizing and bypassing Governor Newsom in California and sending in 2,000 National Guard troops to deal with the protesters there who are going against ICE. Remember what I said 2 videos ago, fucking ICE melts. So now is the time for people to go out there and protest in even greater numbers with a presence so strong that it sends a clear signal to the Trump administration that the United States of America does not stand for this fascist bullshit. Together and united, we are strong, and they are weak. We are on the side of the right, and they are on the wrong side of fucking history. Get out there, protest, remain nonviolent, let your voices be heard. We need to send a clear message to this administration that we will not be under martial law. We will not be dictated to by a man who can't even spell his own fucking name. Elon Musk, where are you? You want to get back at Donald Trump? Maybe you should be funding the protesters. Get out there and deliver them the things that they need to keep safe, mask, water, things like that. If you really want to take a stance there, Elon, do something right to correct all the wrongs that you have fucking done.
This is insane. Hegseth is talking about sending in the Marines to send in the U.S. military to take action against U.S. citizens. Seriously, he says that if the National Guard isn't able to quell the protests, that they will be sending in active duty Marines from Camp Pendleton. When I think about the military getting called in to help with the domestic situation, I think about how President Eisenhower called in the 101st Airborne so that Central High School had to integrate after Governor Faubus refused to go along with the Supreme Court decision and integrate the schools and therefore allowed the Little Rock Nine to attend high school. Not U.S. citizens who are protesting the government changing the legal status of law-abiding people in order to have a reason to deport them, who are detaining people without food or water, who are deporting their family members, who aren't giving people adequate notice of their deportations, and are sending people to foreign concentration camps. I want to know, where was the military on January 6th when our lawmakers were held hostage in the Capitol as people tried to overthrow the government?
Los Angeles doesn't play around when it comes to protecting its own people. ICE raids just sparked protests across the city, and if this administration thinks it can silence LA with force, it better check the history books. Escalation has never worked here, and this city does not back down. Right now, LA County is mobilizing. ICE raided neighborhoods and started dragging families out of their homes. So LA did what it always does. We showed up. People blocked ICE vehicles and surrounded raids. Entire blocks came out to bear witness. And now the federal government is sending in 2,000 National Guard troops. Helicopters in the sky. Streets are being militarized. And we have to ask, what exactly are they preparing for? A war on their own citizens? Because here's the thing, LA remembers. In 1965, the Watts Rebellion lasted 6 days and took 14,000 National Guard troops to contain. In 1992, after Rodney King, thousands flooded the streets and over 50 people died. 2,300 people were injured, and it took 5 days and the Marines to quiet the city. In 2020, after George Floyd, LA filled with peaceful protests. The more they cracked down, the more people came out. Escalation doesn't work here. It never has. This is a city of over 10 million people. If someone dies, if a child is taken, it will not end the protest. It will multiply them. Unless the president is trying to start a war on U.S. soil, he needs to stand down. You cannot contain this city by force unless that's exactly what you're trying to do. LAPD also didn't inherit militarization. They built it. They invented SWAT. They drove tanks into neighborhoods. They treated Black and Latino communities like battlefields. And every time they used force, the people pushed back. Not with violence, but with unity, with organizing, with defiance. That is what's happening now. Nobody is calling for violence. If you're in the streets, be smart, stay legal, and know your rights. But if it keeps escalating, if somebody ends up dead, they shouldn't be surprised when this city responds. Not because we want chaos, but because we will not be silenced. So to the president, to DHS, to ICE, stand down, de-escalate.
These ICE protests in Los Angeles are without a shadow of a doubt going to place you in the room with people who are going to start saying out loud, he's only arresting the criminals. And since we know that anybody that still follows MAGA is just devoured of both morality and common sense, here's a really quick 1-minute answer to give those people. First, you're going to say, oh, you mean like this criminal? Next, you're going to say, oh, wait, or do you mean this criminal? Follow that up with, oh, wait, or maybe you mean this criminal. Then say, oh, wait, I'm sorry, hold on, maybe like this criminal? And then you're going to end it by saying, oh no, you meant this criminal. You're not going to change their minds. We're at the point, if your mind hasn't changed, it's probably never going to. But if you're like me, you're a fighter. And when you know you should probably just walk away from this person, you can't. So this is a really good way to back somebody into a corner. They'll make up an excuse, don't worry. But it will be very clear that they are making up an excuse. To some, that won't matter. But to some, they'll know.
So Trump just sent in the National Guard to California, 2,000 troops, without the governor's approval. And people are freaking out, calling it authoritarian or even deranged. But let's just be real for a second. If you've got people rioting, breaking stuff, attacking federal agents, torching property, what do you expect a president to do? Sit on his hands? Trump saw chaos in the streets and used federal power to try to shut it down. That's not madness, that's literally part of the job. The pushback is that he didn't go through the governor. True, that's not the usual route. But when local and state leaders won't act, or worse, stand in the way, then what? You just let cities burn? Here's the thing, you don't have to love Trump to admit that protecting people and property matters more than politics. Is it aggressive? Sure. But is it illegal? Not really. And honestly, if we're at a point where stopping violence is controversial, we've lost the plot. Bottom line, if law enforcement won't step in, someone has to. That's not tyranny, that's leadership. Let me know what you think in the comments and follow for more news, views and uncomfortable truths.
Y'all, this is actually wild. So we just saw ICE operations downtown on Friday, sparking protests, and now Trump's pulling the trigger on deploying 2,000 National Guard troops to LA County. Nah, this ain't normal. So here's what happened. So on Friday, ICE hit the Fashion District. Alleged fictitious documents, tense scene. Protests broke out, crowds tried to block agents, word spread about detainees in a federal building basement. Now we're talking detentions outside of Home Depot and Dale's Donuts. But let's be real, this is about more than just paperwork. Then, come Saturday, things escalated in Paramount with another immigration operation, and federal agents reportedly fired non-lethal munitions. Protesters were blocking U.S. Marshals buses, throwing objects. It even spread to Compton. And instead of calming things down, what did Trump say and do? He posted, if Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass can't do their jobs, then the federal government will step in. Riots and looters, the way it should be solved. Trump then sends in the National Guard and says if things get worse, he'll bring in Marines from Camp Pendleton, like literal active duty military in Los Angeles. But let's be real, this is bigger than immigration and more than just riots and looters. Trump has a vendetta against California, against Newsom, against Karen Bass, and he's had this vendetta for years. He wants this smoke. Now, he invoked the Guard under the Title 10 authority without Newsom's approval. Now, Title 10 authority is basically a waiver of the Posse Comitatus Act, which is a law that generally restricts the U.S. military from domestic law enforcement, which means that for the next 60 days or so, LA could be under federal military control. But let me tell you why that's not normal. When you bypass those checks, you have to ask, what's the real endgame? Is he looking for a reason to declare something bigger, like maybe martial law here? Now, local officials are not happy. Governor Gavin Newsom called Trump, then posted that this federal move is purposefully inflammatory and will only escalate tensions. He called it the wrong mission. Now, the real question is, does Trump actually want peace, or is he looking for a reason to call martial law? What do y'all think?
Breaking news, Stephen Miller, the shadow president behind Donald Trump, is calling what's going on in California a violent insurrection. And they're looking for every possible excuse they can get to officially invoke the Insurrection Act. This is all part of the Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation's plan, this small minority within MAGA that the general public doesn't support. They are taking our country for a ride, and Trump is trying to keep up with it himself. I just did a post. Donald Trump deployed the National Guard to California. We're at the point of martial law, and this is all part of the fascist takeover. In conjunction with this big, beautiful bill that cannot pass, and if it does, We are no longer the United States of America. All these things happening in tandem with Palantir taking all of our data, consolidating it from all the government agencies into one. We have the tech billionaires contributing to the fascist takeover. We have the National Guard deployed, looking for an excuse to invoke the Insurrection Act in California, New York, and it's going to spread all over the U.S. We have the big, beautiful bill, which touches upon every aspect of policy. It's going to rip away the power of the courts to hold Trump in contempt, or any official for that matter, so they can legally not listen to the Supreme Court or the lower courts. I hope you all see what's happening. All of this together is the Project 2025 agenda. The same agenda we were all trying to desperately plead to you before the election. We were desperately begging you not to vote for Donald Trump because we knew this would happen. Because they said it would. They wrote it in a giant 900-some page book called Project 2025, and it's coming to fruition. But one thing we can do is resist. All of us. That is the one power that we all have. It's resistance. And don't lie down in a chalk outline of yourself in advance. Stand strong. Don't give in to the fear, because fascism relies on fear as its fuel. Oh, I'm praying for the people in California right now.
America has not been in the right trajectory since Donald Trump took over as the president for the second term. It's been crazy. You know, one of the things that Donald Trump was saying during his campaign period was that he'll ensure that there is mass deportation, you know, in America. And we are seeing what is happening right now, especially in the Hispanics, you know, with the Hispanics neighborhoods. It's been crazy. We've seen ICE officials attack people. Some ICE officials are so hard on people. Some of them are even effecting wrong arrests, you know, to people who are officially the US citizens, or rather people who are also trying to find the paperwork and ensure that they are legal citizens. And it's been crazy. Some of the people are arraigned in court. You know, sometimes the ICE officials follow them and wait for the court hearings and arrest them. And people from California said enough is enough. And people have been having massive protests in California, and that hasn't impressed Trump. The funny thing is that the governor himself is not happy, you know, with these move that Trump took. It's been problems and chaos in America since he took over office. The other day we saw him fight, you know, online with Elon Musk, and you wonder, what will he do tomorrow? Because nowadays there is an issue after another. Is America really falling? Is it time for Babylon to fall? Because things are coming left, right, and center each and every day, and people are wondering what's happening in America. You know, these protests actually erupted following a series of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the ICE raids, that resulted in over 100 arrests across the city, including in areas like the Fashion District and the near a Home Depot in Paramount. Demonstrators clashed with federal agents, leading to the use of tear gas, flashbang grenades, and paper balls by law enforcement. Protesters responded by throwing rocks and burning refuse in the streets. Family, look at what is happening in America right now in 2025. I really wish that Trump would have used some lenient way, you know, to handle this issue with mass deportations, because in some way you'll notice that the ICE officials are using a lot of force. And when Trump ordered for the National Guard, you know, to take over California, that was so wrong, because even the governor is not happy with what is happening. The deployment was authorized under the Title 10 of the US Code, you know, allowing the federal government to mobilize the National Guard without state approval. This move bypassed California Governor Gavin Newsom, you know, who criticized the decision. He criticized the decision, and he said that it's purposefully inflammatory, and warned it will escalate tensions. There'll be a lot of tensions, in California. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth also indicated that active duty Marines at camp were on high alert and could be mobilized if violence continued. They want to use more and more force. Trump just wants to create chaos in America. Family, it will be worse and worse. Somebody said that it's time that you run away from America because it will be crazier in the coming days. I have a friend, and I told this story in my last video. I have a friend who told me, that he was escaping the US before things could get worse, because he believes that the economy will be going high, systems will not be working for its citizens, and there will be a lot of fights, there will be a lot of war. And this is what we're starting to see, because the deployment of the National Guard is just something that will create tension, and it's something that will bring a lot of problems in California and the US in general. I really wish that Trump had lenient ways, to handle this situation. I really wish he came up with ways that will tackle this without having to create chaos in the communities. These protests are part of a broader series of demonstrations against mass deportation efforts during Trump's second term, which have included walkouts and rallies in various cities. As of today, the Sunday, June 8th, the National Guard troops had arrived in Los Angeles and were assembling near federal buildings. Organizers have called for additional protests later in the day today, including a demonstration at Los Angeles City Hall scheduled at 2 p.m. local time. Family, it will be crazy and crazier. The power has always been with the people. If government agents wants to use, their force, wants to use, what they have, to instill peace, to ensure that there is peace all around the US, they'd rather use better ways. I understand that the people of California are tired with the force that ICE officials are using. The people of California are tired, of false arrests. Some people are attacked in their houses, while them themselves are actual US citizens. And these are just some of the things that are taking people of California and the people of the great United States of America to the street. Guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this video. Kindly like this video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'll be very, very grateful. Last but not least, kindly do consider subscribing to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and we cannot do it without your support. Thank you all, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.